Alright, so today guys, we're just going to look at one last example where we're interpreting and making predictions of a regression line. Okay, we've got the same formula that we're using before in one of the previous videos. So our example reads, the equation of a regression line that enables the price of a second-hand car to be predicted from its age is, and here's our formula. Remember, we did use this one before. This time the question's asking us, interpret the slope in terms of the two variables, interpret the intercept in terms of the two variables, and then predict the price of a car that is 10 years old. Okay, I want to start with part A and what we've got. So we need to interpret the slope, okay? If we can remember back to one of the first videos, we had y equals a plus bx. Okay, that was one of the first formulas we wrote down when we were learning this. And if we can remember what each of these were, okay? So we said our A was the intercept value and B was the slope, okay? So to start with, I'm just looking at the slope, so that's all I want to focus on. But let's highlight it out, okay? So my A value is going to be my intercept. So the intercept is 35,100, and my slope, or B value, will be negative 3,940. It's important that we can understand why is that a negative. It is a negative because in the original equation it's a positive, therefore that value of B is a negative. Okay? If you need that explained, come and see us. Now we're going to interpret the slopes in terms of the variables, price and age. Okay? So we want to say what is happening with the car over time, and as it goes, is it increasing, is it decreasing, what is happening? Okay, my B value. So my B value in this question is negative 3,940. Okay, so I'm going to have that in my answer somewhere. I need to know what is that doing but. Okay, given that it's a negative, it is decreasing, or my scatter plot or regression line is going in downwards direction. Okay, so each year, and why is it year? Because we're multiplying by age, I can say that it is decreasing in value by 3,940. Okay, so each year it is going down that 3,940 per year. Okay, so I'm going to write that up. So on average, the price of these cars decrease by, and what was my value? 30,940 per year. Okay, so that's all we needed to write. We just need to know that that B value is negative, therefore it is decreasing. Okay, let's move on to part B. This time we're asked to interpret the intercept. Okay, so remember the intercept, we're talking about the y-intercept. So remember, whenever we're looking at the y-intercept, x is 0. Okay, we've looked back at that how to find the y-intercept earlier in Unit 1 and 2. It's always you make x equals 0. Okay, so if x equals 0, therefore the age is 0. So we know, all right, well the intercept's at 35,100. Therefore, when a car is 0 or new, it is worth 35,100. Okay, so we're going to write that up. So we're going to write on average when new, these cars are worth 35,100. Okay, that's all that it's asking us to do. Remember, whenever it's 0, that's x equals 0. When we're talking about this 0, car can't be 0 years old, it's just new. Okay, the last bit is we're going to predict. We have done this in the previous video, so we end up with our price equals 100, take times 10. Okay, so I've already substituted in 10, which was my age. So when I put that in my calculator, remember if we want to fully break it down, and I don't even have the answer here, we get negative 4,300. Okay, this is where we can use our justification. You would not, a car isn't worth negative 4,300. Okay, you don't go and buy a car and get money, you have to pay. So when it's a negative, it's saying it's worth less than nothing. Okay? So what we do when we do have things like this is we call this interpolation and extrapolation. So I'm going to write these two up. So these are important terms that we need to know. Within is predicting outside the range. Okay, so those are two really important terms that we need to know. So for this one, we are obviously outside the range. Okay, we've got a negative answer, so we could look back and try and figure out where that range was. It hasn't been given in that question, but we would know when we get to here, well, we are outside the range because we've got an unrealistic answer. If we had a different survey question and it was looking at maybe eye tests, so there's a good example in the book, looks at eye tests and the range that they surveyed people was between 20 and 40. Okay, so if we're trying to predict for someone that's 35, yep, that is within the range, it's interpolation. Okay, if we were trying to test for someone that's 70, that is outside that range, so it'd be extrapolation. Okay, that's important just to note down because you need to say you'll get different results and varying if the range is, if it's inside the range or if it's outside that range. Okay, this is the last bit. Remember, there is the Excel video, so make sure you've got the 3 videos down for this and then working through the textbook questions.